Good morning, my little burgers. Right, today I just thought I'd have a little chat about some sort of things that we face when you're a partial sighted cane user, but also mobility issues when you're out and about. So, how you're affected. Um, so, since the stroke, I've had some unfortunate experiences with people. Um, so I'll talk about the one that is probably stands out the most to most people. Anyone with any decency understands that it's not what you should do. Um, but me and my wife Lizzie, we went to the O2 for a particular event with the kids, and very early on in my recovery, so I wasn't fantastic with a cane use, but I went up there anyway because we'd had it booked prior to the stroke, and we was up there. Now, give O2 their due; they were fantastic, but we're walking along, and generally speaking, most people could see the cane. They were moving just out the way, just giving us space, which was great, fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And most of these people were, should I say, middle aged to older. Um, and it was all you could see they were quite respectful. But then, just to describe what I suffer with, so homogeneous heminopia. Um, Basically, where I had the stroke, it was on my right hand side, rear occipital region. Um, but what happens is the left hand peripheral goes completely. So it's not my sight that is the problem. It is actually my brain can't record what my eyes are seeing because my brain has actually died. But what happened? So I was walking along um, this day with the cane, left to right, shoulder width apart, as you do, sort of hobbling along because of my left hand side weakness as well. But I'm trying not to give in to that. I need to try and stay strong. So I try to walk as much as possible. Um, but I do have to stop every so often just to get a breather, get relaxed. The fatigue kicks in. So when the fatigue kicks in, my knee just drops out. Right. So that's just a little bit more backstory to it. But I was stumbling along, walking along. Um, sorry, walking along, and then I was just swiping backwards, left to right, left to right, left to right, as you do, as you're taught. I was taught by Kent Association for the Blind, absolutely fantastic charity, well worth a chat if you have visual problems and you need help. So to give them credit, they're worth the call. But they can help with all sorts of things, assistive tools, computers, etc., right, and other bits and pieces. But walking along, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I on my left hand side, which is the side I can't see, this young, I believe, Asian gentleman jumped over. Must have only been 18, 20, no older than that. Um, but he jumped over the cane. But the problem was he jumped into my stride. Now I'm quite a tall person. I'm 6'1". I'm 6 foot. Sorry, not 6'1". My son's 6'1". Um, but I'm 6 foot, so I'm quite tall. I'm built like an outhouse, like my dad used to say. Um, and I have the stature of what like rugby players, etc. But I can be fairly stable on my feet, and that was due to um, some martial arts I did in the past. So I'm pretty good at staying as stable as I can, even though my left is weak. So I'm compensating quite a lot. But in the middle of my stride, he jumped over straight into where I was walking. Unfortunately for him, our legs interlocked, where he literally got hooked and landed splat on his face. And then everyone around, which for me, shows a kindness and a responsibility that everyone had. They literally had a go at this poor lad, which I felt sorry for him, but it was of his own making. If he hadn't jumped and he hadn't jumped over my cane, he hadn't walked in front of me, he would have been absolutely fine. But he decided to make that call. He decided to choose to do this. What he didn't do was choose to actually give me extra space, which would have been a better viable option. Just drop behind someone and walk away. Don't walk in front of someone who's using a cane or has got a guide dog or anything like that, because you don't know how good their vision actually is. And you could make the wrong call. But by staying behind them and walking around them, that's the safe call. But this happened. This poor lad had everyone having a go at him, and he felt so embarrassed. You could see it in his eyes. He was embarrassed. Like, from what I could see, he was embarrassed. My wife saw it. He was flushed. He was embarrassed. But too right. It is a lesson that he's learned. But he done that, and we all got on our way. Right, so that was over. But we've had other instances as well. So we've had a case where um, I was trying to cross a path at a traffic light system. There's people the other side and my side. I was already stood there. I was at the lights. I had my finger on the button. I was waiting for the spinny bit on the bottom of the button to let me know it's safe to cross, because I couldn't see if it had changed to green. But there was other people the other side. They turned up after I was stood there with these buggies, this mum and her gran or whatever, her mum as well. Um, and they literally could see me. I could see they could see me because I can see forward. I get a bit of greyness. I get a bit of depth perception issues. So there's certain things that I do struggle with occasionally, just depending on the day, just because the brain can't see it or function it at that point. But I noticed they could clearly see me, and they, rather than giving me a wide berth or just giving me a bit extra space, they walked directly at me, expecting me to move out their way. And unfortunately, what I was taught by Kent Association for the Blind is, because I've got the cane, I have the hierarchy on the road, which is nice to know, but unfortunately, people don't understand that. Um, so they literally carried on walking at me, and they literally huffed as they had to move, because I will just stand. So when I finally see them, if if I didn't notice them, if I finally see people, I stand still because it's safer for me and it's safer for them. Yeah, but if they walk into me, that is a choice they've made. Um, but then they huffed, so it's like, oh, they don't understand. But then I had another instance. We went to the cinema. Now, like I said, I can still see the things, but I didn't see this woman in the lobby. And my wife told me that she was staring at me, and this happens quite a lot. Right? So I was walking through, and this woman was staring at me. I didn't see her, and then she walked at me, all on my blind side, so I couldn't see her. Right, but right at the last minute, I did. But I do something to protect my left hand side. I actually hold my hand outwards, so like a fist. So I actually hold it out, and it's a good job I did, because she walked straight into it. Well, that one gives me a little bit of space to deflect whatever it is that I might be walking in. So it could be a post, could be whatever. But no, I hit her, and I punched her direct in the breast area, and she gave this almighty sickening huff and a ugh. But then I spun round and I went, oh, sorry, didn't see you there. And then she's turned around and looked at me holding the cane, and the embarrassment straight away, she just ducked her head and run off, literally embarrassed. Now, these sorts of things happen on a day-to-day basis, right? And people just don't understand, right? And it's the choices that people make. Um, I've had people walking into me left, right, and centre. I don't see them, and I will knock into them, and I have knocked people on the floor because I'm 18 stone worth of muscle and I'm 6 foot. It's a lot, and because I lean into my wobble, so because my left drops, I lean in. So the left hand side is where I tend to be leaning towards because my leg can't hold it as much as my right. So they end up getting a full force of my 18 stone. So they end up getting knocked. And they have this issue over me. And I just think you could have had the decent thing and try and avoid me as much as I'm trying to avoid you. I'll avoid who I can see. Um, but it doesn't always happen. But these things happen to everyone. I watched a few videos of late where people are walking in front of guide dogs and their owners, obviously the blind owners, and these people are looking at them, staring at them. And the poor dog, I can see the dog on these videos just staring at them like, why are you there? You've walked across me. But the dogs are really good. They hold them off and they stand off. They're protecting obviously their owner, which is fantastic. They're well trained, these guide dogs. And these people, they feel disgruntled that they're having to stop in their day to day. Yeah. And it's things like this that happen regularly. We've had a friend in our stroke group. Now, she told me about something she experienced. Now, she uses a cane because of the stroke, which was a while ago, but the after effects of a stroke are long lasting. They don't disappear, right? They stay there for a long time. But she uses a cane to keep herself stable. Now, she went in a pub, wanted a meal, and these people were like, oh, disability stick, eh? Like this attitude that they have, right, looking at her, right, and being rude. And she's like, I'm not staying here. There's no need for that. And there wasn't. I mean, I've had it myself. We went to Folkestone not long after coming out of hospital, and I was walking along with a cane. And in fact, it wasn't a cane at the time because I was waiting for it to turn up. So I had a white walking stick because I still had stability issues at the time, like more than what I have now because it was just freshly done. So my balance was completely off. So I needed the support and the help of the walking stick. But what they do is the walking sticks, when you're partially sighted, are white. Yeah. And if you're deaf as well, they are white and red, just so you understand. But it was white. And this drunkard is what I can say because he was sat on a bench on the Lees Cliff in Folkestone drinking his Lovell or 5 litre jug of cider. And he turned around just like my friend and said, I've got your disability stick, have we? And I thought, the sheer cheek of it, you're sat there drinking cider at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning and you are judging me? I went, you're the one who needs judging because that is wrong. You shouldn't be doing that this early in the day. But I don't do that. But he got quite verbal and got quite aggressive towards me. And as I'm not a I'm not a small fella, even though I've been through what I went through, I I just said, what's your problem? You got a real issue. What's your problem? Right? Yeah, yes, you sat there drinking this. What's your problem, mate? Right? And I walked towards him, and you could just see the colour drain out of his face because he thought he could bully someone. And does happen quite a bit. Disabled people are bullied, and it's quite sickening that people prey on the weak. I've had it where an old neighbour of mine, she was in a wheelchair, and she had um, someone, a builder I know, and I actually know who he is, um, was quite aggressive to her. Yeah. And these things happen more than you even realize. And it is disgusting that these people do this. They don't live a nice life. Yeah, it doesn't cost much to be kind to someone, to be pleasant, just to wish them a good day, right? We need to do that to everyone. There's no hardship in the world to do that. Just being a good person, you can have a big impact on someone. But disabled people face this sort of stuff day in, day out of their lives, right? And some of the things are just daft. I was walking along with a cane, yeah, locally, and this woman just stood right in front of me. But luckily enough, it was in front. But she walked out from my blind side, but then all of a sudden she was there, so I just had to stop. And she's going, "Oh, so you can see then, even though I got the cane?" And I'm thinking, "Yes, I can see a bit." So, but you did come in from my blind side. Oh, well, I was just checking, make sure you could see. And I thought, you cheeky little so and so. There is no need for that. You deliberately blocked my path just to confirm that I could or couldn't see. The cane isn't at all to be abused. It's there so I can get around so I don't walk into people. Because I did nudge her with the cane on her feet, which is what I'm supposed to do. If there's an object in the way, I hit the object, I stop, and I move around it. Um, but she just stood there, and it was just the sheer cheek of it, what she did. But I got talking to my partner, Lizzie, and I ended up bumping into this woman later on. I didn't literally, it was just we saw her. And my wife works in healthcare and has the unfortunate daily issues of dealing with complete and utter idiots that come into a workplace. And they're not the finest of fellows or people. They tend to be quite low class in many ways and dumb in many others. And I pointed out who it was. I went, "Yeah, I think that was the one who jumped out in front of me." She went, "Oh, that one." She went, "Yeah, we have the problems with that all the time. She's just a drama. She does this. She's like that, kicking off left, right, and centre in like A&E and all this, and it's like creating merry hell all the time, and it's just not needed." But she saw her. She went, "That explains why." And it was like, what do people get from this? What what is it? If you want to know about a disability, why not just ask? Don't just block people. Just ask. Most of us will tell you what we suffer with. Right? I bumped into a an older gentleman and his wife on the seafront one day, and they see that I had the cane. They went, "Oh, don't mind if we ask?" I said, "No, no, no, no. Go ahead." They went, "Why do you need it? What's the condition?" I went, "Oh." And I told him what mine was. I said it was homogeneous heminopia, which is a brain thing, not an actual sight problem. They went, "Oh, that's different. Oh, we've got, I think it was degenerative condition of the eyes." So that was his wife. She said, "Yeah, we use the cane as a tool for other people." And I went, "Yeah, that's generally what I do. It's not for me. I could probably get around without it, but I feel safer with the cane to highlight to people just to be aware of me, because trying to explain to people that you nudge and you bump into that you're partially sighted, they can't see the fact you're partially sighted. So the cane is the tool to let them understand that you have some visual problems. Yeah, because people won't believe you. Yeah, and they'll get aggressive, they'll get funny. So by having the tool, which is the cane, it it gives the person the idea that there is a fault or a problem for you. But we have to justify ourselves sometimes. But this gentleman and his wife, they said, yeah, normally we could probably get away all the time without it. But unfortunately, because people don't understand, if you nudge them, they get aggressive and that. We use the cane just to highlight the problem that we've got. And I understand that. And it is a post that I saw from a gentleman that you feel like you're conning people because you have this cane. And you think, am I really conning them? I can see a bit, but I have issues. Like I said, there's some days the brightness, it just affects me. Normally, I'm always wearing um, glasses, and the irony is, I need reading glasses, even though I can't see to the left hand side. But people don't understand. That's These are for my eyes, which is for reading, but I don't need them to see forward. I can still see forward with my forward sight. It's just my peripheral on the left hand side. So, like there, my hand, I can't see that. I'm staring square at the camera. I can see in my phone that my fingers are waving. I know they're waving because I can feel it because I'm doing it, but I can't see them. So I'll move them in to where I start seeing. So right there. So that. So that shows you that that can't see, that I can see. Can't, can. That shows you all of this around here, right, from this side onwards, I can't see. This side, however, not a problem. I can see right back here, right, which is good. It's like 90 degree, yeah, which is good, right? But I've got nothing this side, yeah. But people don't, because you don't look disabled, they don't realise you are disabled. And some of the biggest judges of this is when you get into the blue parking bays, because I have the blue badge and it is through the mobility that I have it. Like I said, my left hand side really goes, but it kicks in worse with fatigue, tiredness. But I'm not giving in to that. I still have to walk. I still have to try and keep fit. And if that means um, walking for 20 meters, stopping, right, then walking another 20 meters, stopping, walking another 20 meters and stopping, I will do. Yeah. Because there are days where I can't even do 5 meters. You're just so tired, so fatigued, you're drained permanently. And that's why we got the blue badge to help me go shopping and that. But when you pull up there, you can see people's looking at you. Um, there's some older people. They look. Uh, oh, sorry. They look at you, and I can't see them on this side obviously until I turn that way. Um, but my wife notices them, but I can see the other side, and they're looking at you, and they're like, "Oh, why are you parking here?" And you can see it going through their face, like the disdain that you're pulling into a disabled spot, right? And I had someone waiting behind, some old people waiting behind when we pulled into a bay, and they just stopped there and they were looking at us. Right, so my wife gets the blue badge out. She puts the time in. I step out, and you can see them sneering at us, like, "Ugh," like that. You shouldn't be parked there. And then I get the cane out. I drop the cane, and instantly they face just drops, and then they're like, "Oh," and then they turn away because they've judged us. Yeah, and it happens all the time. Yeah. Now, I'm one of those people when it comes to the mobility side of things is if I'm having a good day, I don't mind where we park. I don't need the blue badge bay. I just park anywhere. Yeah. The getting in and out of the vehicle on a good day is easy, right? It's pretty easy. You slide out, bang. But this is why I pick cars that are easy just to slide in and out of. Low cars are a no go, right? Because I'm 6 foot, a low car is just killing me. Yeah. But high high cars are perfect, yeah. But we also have a van that used to be my old work van, and that's great getting in and out of because I'd literally just drop down, step up, step down. It's a lot easier. Um, but the people just, they're just terrible, yeah. And they judge you all the time. It's like, and it's permanent, right? And something that was really sickening I see the other day now. We were going to train up my dog, Sierra, who's sleeping behind here. Actually, it's why you see the curtains twitch every now and again. Um, we were going to train her up as an assistance dog because she's so calm and mellow. Um, but unfortunately, it was like £3,500 to do the training. I was like, we can't afford that. So we couldn't do it. But people don't understand that during we were trying to do some training for ourselves, so we had the assistance tags on to so we could use her. But people don't understand that assistance dogs are allowed into shops. They are allowed. It is a legal right. Um, but certain ethnicities don't understand that. And we've had a case of that just recently where a security guard in Aldi's tried to stop a blind man taking his guide dog in, even though the sign out says no dogs apart from guide dogs or assistance dogs. And legally, they are entitled to go in because you can't affect or penalise or victimise and discriminate against someone with a disability, a sight loss. But this gentleman didn't understand the rules, the laws for Aldi's, which means that Aldi's, or it was evil. I think it was Aldi's, not Lidl's, Aldi's. But if they don't train their security staff appropriately, then they're going to create problems for disabled people. And it happened, and they trying to send this person out. Now, if I was there, I would have been ripping him a new one, asking the manager to come over to kick him out, to get rid of the security guard, or teach him how to train, how and actually teach him the rules. Yeah, because it's a legal requirement that that dog is allowed in. Yeah, because it's to assist that blind person from doing their daily lives. Yeah, but it just, I wanted to highlight that to people a bit more because of how many things I've seen that are happening. Right? But it's constant, and it's a shame um, because we could be decent people. We didn't have to do that. But here's something for you that happened today. Now, I walk my dog in a normal place because I like the routine of where I walk her. So I have to walk up there, but there's a reason why I go to this park because when I walk there, I know the route, I know how to cross over, I know there's seating areas where I can sit, rest, and recover, and I can make my way round. But today, trying to cross the road, it was absolutely awful. Um, I was stood there for ages. There was just constant car after car after car. And because it takes me a long time to focus one way then the next, by the time I've cleared one way, I look back the other and there's some cars coming. Right? And it's a junction where there's two ways. There's a T section onto this road. This road's pretty busy. And then another load of cars come out the T section. But I have to move down to a certain spot to try and get over. But to see, I'm looking left, right, left, right, left, right. And because of the delay of me functioning to put the pictures together, I missed the gaps, and it just, we was there for about 5 minutes and I was getting drained because there's nowhere to sit down or anything. So I have to get into the park to sit down. And it just went on and on and on. And I was like, oh, please, God, please let this stop in a second. Let us get a break. And there was no break. There was just cars after cars after cars after cars. And it was like, oh, this is in now. But lo and behold, there was a lovely car, right? And I know I'm not supposed to cross in front of them, but if I hadn't, I wouldn't have got over the road. because there was so much traffic. And I think it was a gentleman in a red car. I can't tell you what it was, but they managed to. I managed to see them wave me across because that's sometimes the difficult part, seeing when they're trying to go, because it's so small. I don't see it, and they let me across, and I was like, "Oh, thank you very much. That's real decent of you. That's really helped me out, in more ways than what they realise, because the tiredness, the fatigue had kicked in. I just had to hurry up to get to the other side, to get to somewhere I could sit down. Yeah, um, but they did in the end. So there are some decent people out there. But my little burgers, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Right. I love you all. Stay safe. Be kind. Be pleasant. And wish people a happy day. Yeah. And I hope they're well. Pass on the good feelings and you'll have a positive impact. You take care, guys. Oosh. Love ya.